Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to my very first Ressha Sentai ToQger review. Today I'll be taking a look at the Ressha Sentai ToQger Deluxe Safari Gao from Ressha Sentai ToQger, the movie Galaxy Line SOS. So without further ado, let's take a look at the first of the ToQger mecha that I have. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the packaging first because there is a unique thing about it. Most of the ToQger mecha are in boxes like this, vertical, while this guy's in a horizontal box because Safari Gao, despite being a retool of ToQger, does have an exclusive mode, which would be the line configuration, and this box highlights that, as it is the biggest distinguishing feature between this and ToQger. Now, I do not own a ToQger yet. I ordered the Chigokin version that will be released in November. So I can't do a side-by-side comparison yet, but when I get to reviewing Chigokin ToQger, I'll definitely show that off. On the top here, you can see the train configuration on the Galaxy Line. This is the only Galaxy Line mecha we've gotten so far. And it only appears in, well, so far, ToQger the movie, Galaxy Line SOS. This is the Galaxy Line. So you got all that going on here, the different train configuration parts. On the back, you got how it works in the ToQger changer, how you can use it in the Apply changer. Won't change the sounds in the Apply changer, but you can. Also can connect with the other Ressha. And you can make this 1.2 meter long train, which I will do my best to show off. But you got some cool little packaging details there. But overall, the box is really nice. It's nice, sturdy cardboard. It's good Bandai of Japan quality, which is really a nice change because last time I bought a Japanese mecha when it first came out was with ToQger, and that was a while ago. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Safari Ressha. Alright, so here we have the Safari Ressha Lion. Now, the Safari Ressha itself in the movie, from what I've gathered, just based on clips I've seen, trailers and such, the entire lengthy train of all of Safari Gao is considered the Safari Ressha. Now, in toy form, they broke it up a little bit so you can have individual pieces. But for the sake of this, I'm going to be looking at each individual train. So here we have Safari Ressha Lion. Now, front sections of each of these trains can be removed, and these are the actual Ressha pieces themselves. These are the ones that have the slider clips so they can actually be used in the ToQger changer. I'm going to state this right off the bat. I don't own a ToQger changer, but I do know that each of the Safari Ressha in this set make the same sound, which is just Safari Ressha, Safari Ressha. So you got that going on, but it is nicely detailed. So this is based on a lion, obviously, because it's a lion head. It is a retool of the red Ressha, with the new pieces basically being the front section. Actually, this part right here that folds is the real new part with the nice lion head. You got a nice gold, and the gold line is basically the primary color of this part of the Ressha, and it is primarily white and blue. I love the look of this more so than ToQger. ToQger doesn't feel like the 5 Ressha really connect together very well, but with Safari Gao, because they're all primarily white and blue, it gives it a nice unified look. Now you can give this guy some extra stuff. The tail weapon can plug on top here, and this section, which is all the exclusive Safari Gao parts, can plug onto the back here using the clips. Now I do want to talk about the clips for a second, as some people are worried that the clips will break. These are the sturdiest clips I've seen on a Sentai mecha in a while. They're the old style clips still with the 2 prong connectors. These don't look like they'll be breaking anytime soon, but always keep that in mind that it is a possibility. Now in terms of train connections, you have a hole under here, and you do have a hitch back here. You also have the ability to make the train a little longer, which I don't recommend doing with the full-size train, by folding out a little hitch here and latching it on so you can actually have a little bit of a turning access on this train. But overall, Safari Ressha Lion is pretty cool. They do roll, by the way. They do all have wheels. But it is the front piece of the train, and it does have all the most exciting things going on with it. But overall, pretty cool. Alright, next up we have Safari Ressha Eagle. Now this one is one of the better ones here. is primarily orange. It is owned by ToQger Nigo, who's primarily blue, so it's kind of interesting there. But considering the whole thing is white and blue, Safari Gattai, that is, the whole thing. As you can obviously see, it's an eagle there. It's got a beak. It's got the eyes. It's very nicely done. It is a straight repaint of the blue Ressha from ToQger. There is no new molding here, except for the connections under here to say Safari Ressha. So that's fun. You also do have the hitch, like on Lion Ressha, so you do have the ability to have a turning train if you'd like. And you also do have the ability to flip out another hitch back here so you can connect the next of the Ressha. Overall, not too much going on here. My only real complaints with the overall thing is that these parts appear rubbery, and that's an issue on the next one we look at. But overall, not too bad looking of a train. Alright, next up we have the Wildcat Ressha, or ToQger Sango's Safari Ressha, the Wildcat. This is the weakest of all of them. First of all, it's a repaint of ToQger Go-Go's, so it's the pink Ressha, but it is owned by ToQger Sango Yellow in the movie. It's also pink, so it's kind of misleading. But this doesn't really look much like a Wildcat. They really stretched it on this one. You can kind of see these are eyes and those are ears, but it's not very good. It's my least favorite of the 5 Ressha in this set. But it does function. You can put this in the changer. You do have another hitch, so this thing can become a little longer and turn. It has the ability to turn. It is smaller overall. You do have a hitch in the back as well. I like how these are foldable on all the Ressha that would be toward the end of the train, which makes it a little easier. But overall, Wildcat Ressha is kind of meh. And here we have a completely non-misleading Ressha. It's either a crocodile or an alligator, depending on which way you want to say it. And it is ToQger Yongo Green in his Ressha. And it is based on the green Ressha. It's a straight repaint. But you can see it is a crocodile, alligator. I don't know which one it's supposed to be, really. You can't really tell because it's a train painted to be an animal. But you got the nice green there. It's a light green. Everything's, well painted. It's still white and blue primarily. It looks really nice. The front part does have the alligator Ressha for the ToQger changer. And you do have a little hitch here. It's primarily the same thing going on as the eagle Ressha. You have hitches all over the place. And you even do the weird thing of having the rest of the train carry the front part of the train. That's an option. But overall, not too bad. Really cool looking and really neat overall. Lastly, we have the Panda Ressha, which is ToQger Go-Go's, because they decided to give Pink the panda suit upgrade in the movie, so it ends up becoming hers, even though it's repainted from yellows. But it's hard to put a panda face on a heart-shaped train, I guess. So you do have a panda. It's obviously a panda. It's black and white and blue, so that's fun. Splits. It's basically Wildcat Ressha. Paint it like a panda, with a different molding and then the clip on this side instead. So you have that going on a little bit like that, which is kind of neat. But overall, not too much new going on here, but a neat little train nonetheless. Alright, so here we have the entire Safari Ressha all put together. You can see why I couldn't review it very well this way. Because I'm dedicating my viewers, I made this thing as long as possible. So this is the entire length. So overall, really cool. I do like the train aspect. It does roll. It's a little weird because like these longer sections here don't break apart anymore to make it turn better. But you do have the Safari Ressha. Now I'm going to break this down so we can get to the combinations. Alright, so here's the 5 Safari Ressha. Now it's time to combine this thing. Now, first of all, we're going to go into Lion mode because that is primarily the coolest part. Minor nitpicks out of the way. This piece right here was a little warped when I got it, actually. Possibly due to New Mexico heat. The box was sitting outside for a little bit. But anyways, that is something to keep in mind. All these gold parts are rubbery plastic, so they can bend. So be careful. But to begin our combination, we want to start by taking Lion Ressha, removing the tail piece and this giant block that was on the back of it. I'm going to leave that there. Nextly, actually, we want to keep working with this guy. Let's just keep going here. Next, you want to remove the front piece, the Lion Ressha. Unclick and fold this around like this. Next, you want to take the alligator slash crocodile and the eagle, slide them on like that, and remove their Ressha parts. Lastly, bringing these down and around. And you want to leave that like that. Next, take these Ressha, Wildcat there, Panda here, fold their connector clips out, and leave those like that. You want to take this, straighten this out because it will be a tail. This piece slides off, these pieces unclick. This slides onto the Lion Ressha to give it a mane. You can go ahead and click that into place here. On the back, you want to take and plug the back plate on. Take and fold the feet up for the eagle and crocodile slash alligator. You want to give each the Wildcat and Panda a claw, which just fit into the hand holes there. And you can attach those like this. And lastly, you plug the tail in back here, and now you got Safari Gattai in lion mode. Alright, so here is the lion mode. I'm quite impressed by this mode, mostly because it's mostly ToQger, except for a new lion mane piece, this new back piece here, the piece looking like a tail, but only 4 new pieces were necessary to make ToQger into a lion, which is pretty cool. I mean, if you did this with regular ToQger, just, putting this piece in, because it's the biggest thing, and these you could do, it still would look weird because you'd have a train face. And I'm not really sure if this would have to be confirmed, but I think these 2 clips were added. I'm not sure about that for certain, but I do believe these clips were added so that it could connect the lion head. So there is some working around, but out of all movie mecha, which usually are just straight repaints or retools, this one's the most fascinating to me. Like, while Tobospino last year had a lot of new parts making it an entirely new dinosaur, it didn't have an exclusive mode that Gabutyr couldn't perform. Gabutyr made a robot, Tobospino made a robot. ToQger cannot make a lion. In terms of articulation for Mr. Lion here, you can move his arms, but then he starts falling. And you can adjust his tail. You can have him excited, you can have him sad, you can have him really sad. I kind of like having it like that. It looks a little more natural. But yeah, it's kind of weird that the sword became a tail in this combination. But overall, quite impressive. It's really nice and hefty, too. It's not going to fall apart on you. But yeah, really neat how this all worked out. And getting it to Safari Gattai in its robot mode isn't too hard either. All we got to do here is remove the tail. Put that out of the way. I'm going to take and remove the legs. Then remove this chunk. Spread the legs like that. Click the leg in. Put the other leg in, and this got misaligned. By the way, these buttons here are hey, you disconnect the trains that slide in. So now we get standing, and it's a little tall. Now that my camera's tall enough, we can continue. The arms, bring them down, fold the claws, flip those around, detach the Lion Ressha. You want to hook it up here, like that. And then you want to fold out from the back here. You want to pull this out here. There goes the head. This will clip on to the back here, and the tail actually becomes a tail in the robot mode by folding down here. And now we got Safari Gattai in its full robot mode. Now, this is where it looks the most like ToQger, except for the giant lion mane, and the fact that you really can't see his face. It kind of blocks his face at most camera angles. So we'll take a look at the head sculpt, because I thought it was quite fantastic, considering he has a lion on his head and a ring. And what would that ring be but a door knocker, like an old school door knocker, which I thought was really neat. And considering a lot of pictures of this guy don't show the head very much, I want to show the head. He's got nice green eyes. Yeah, it's very hard to photograph this because they made this piece so tall and prominent. I don't really know if it's an issue on ToQger. Well, I guess we'll find out in a few months, but But yeah, there's that. So overall, really cool. Things to do, articulation. For that, I guess a little bit out, too. I guess. His wrist swivel. His legs move in slightly. Yeah, there's not much articulation. It's a Sentai mecha. I shouldn't expect too much from it. But he is pretty cool overall. Now, you can't have them with the claw weapons like this or like that. But you can remove them. And they're not molded in. Being separate pieces and all. You can remove them and use this as a sword. Or as a gun. You can't really mount it on his shoulder too well because of the back piece here, but you can move things around. There's a lot of creativity that can be allowed in the ToQger stuff, which is really nice considering the show's based around imagination. But yeah, pretty much, Safari Gao is really, really cool. Being a triple changer mecha, I instantly like it. Any mecha that has more than 2 modes, like, appeals to me, which is why I love the Mystic Force / Magi Ranger stuff so much, is because of all the different modes they can assume. But yeah, the fun part about this guy is being able to swap him out from train to lion to robot, train, lion, robot. Really neat overall. And this guy is, fully compatible. You can swap out his arms for anybody you'd like. But we'll have to take a look at that later, as I got other ToQger stuff to review before we show any other combinations. But as a standalone item, Safari Gao is quite fantastic. And I would definitely recommend getting him now, because if you do want to collect the ToQger stuff and you want to have everything, including this guy here, I would suggest getting him before he ever pops up in the show, because right now he's going for less than his retail cost on the aftermarket. And with shipping, I spent about $80 on this guy, and it was totally worth it, because he's just really cool looking. I'm not a fan of the Tokyo color scheme, but this color scheme I can really get into. So I definitely recommend getting him soon, as typically the movie mecha go up in price once they have a brief cameo appearance in the series. So keep that in mind, and I would definitely recommend Safari Gao. So be sure to check out HeroToQger.com for all your Ressha Sentai ToQger news and more, and stay tuned as I got more ToQger reviews on the way. Till next time, saying goodbye.